also talked a little bit about mouth taping, and we talked about different products that might be out there to help us. Why is it so important to breathe through our noses?
Okay, yeah. So the nose in general is just an amazing. It does so many things for our breath that I think get overlooked because it's so simple. Again, like we just said a few minutes ago, it's so simple yet so profound. And so the first thing we probably all are familiar with this. It warms and humidifies the air you breathe. So it conditions the air so that when it gets into the lungs, it's ready for oxygen transfer. And a good analogy from this comes from a book, Restoring Prana from. Anyways, she makes a really good analogy of when it's cold outside and you get chapped lips, you immediately feel that inflammation and oh, you put on some chapstick or whatever. But when you're breathing through your mouth, that same thing is happening in your airways and your lungs. You're getting this colder, drier air. And think about your lips getting chapped. Think about that happening in your airways and lungs, and that can cause inflammation and lead to issues with oxygen absorption and gas transfer in the lungs themselves. Another huge benefit of the nose is nitric oxide. So in the paranasal sinuses, nitric oxide is continuously released. So for each breath you take, you're bringing nitric oxide down into your lungs. And nitric oxide is a potent vasodilator. So some things it does is it redistributes the blood flow. So if you think we're sitting upright right now or standing, gravity would tend to push our blood near the base of our lungs. But what studies have shown is that nitric oxide actually redistributes that blood flow so that there's a better matching of air and blood flow, meaning more efficient gas transfer. And one paper I read even said that made the argument that nasal nitric oxide might be an adaptation that allowed us to be upright, be bipedal because of the compensation for gravity. Nasal nitric oxide also sterilizes the incoming air. It's been known as an antiviral and antimicrobial, which is getting a lot of attention right now with the whole coronavirus. Yep. And then it also enhances the functioning of the cilia. So the cilia are these little hairs in your airways and your lungs, and when particles and pathogens get trapped in the mucus, these cilia beat really fast to push it back out through your airways, or you cough it up, and nitric oxide enhances their function. So nasal nitric oxide is a huge benefit of breathing through your nose, the warming and conditioning. And then the last thing I guess I should definitely mention is the mind connection. So when you breathe through your nose, it activates regions of the olfactory bulb, which is typically thought of the region for smelling. But they've done studies where they give odorless air, and it lights up these regions of the olfactory bulb. And the reason that's important is because the olfactory bulb can speak with the amygdala, which is just basically the part of the brain that can control a lot of the emotions. Mm-hmm. And so nasal breathing is going to help activate that. And it ties together why there's so many benefits of breathing when you start to realize that it's enhancing gas exchange, which is going to help oxygenate your body better, but it's also impacting your brain. There's been studies that show it helps with memory, a whole host of things. So I've kind of thrown a lot out there, but it's really the easiest change you can make. If you do nothing else, just breathe through your nose 24/7.